welcome to Our Conversations, a cousins reunion that started with us getting together. And due to the pandemic and social distancing, we started meeting via Zoom to keep the tradition alive. And now we want to share our conversations with you. I'm Eliana.
I'm Vanda.
I'm Tanisha. Today's topic is brothers and sisters and relationship involvement. As always, these are our thoughts and opinions on something that we hope you will share and discuss with your friends and family at home.
So our first question is, how do you feel about your sibling hanging out with your best friend versus your significant other? I think that it's completely different if my siblings hanging out with my boyfriend. I don't really have an issue with that because I would hope that they have a good relationship. You know, those are my family members. So if he's going to be an important part of my life, I'm going to need, him to have some type of cordial relationship with my sibling. But I would also hope that they have more than a cordial relationship. I would hope that they got along and liked each other enough to hang out without me being there. As far as a best friend, I guess that would depend on how much I trust that person. If I trust them like I would trust my sibling, then it wouldn't be a problem. However, if you don't, then I think I could see it being an issue. I could see it being a problem. So I don't necessarily think I would be okay with them just hanging out all the time by themselves. No. I don't know. What about you, Eliana?
Well, I see them all the same. I think that, yeah, it does depend on whether you trust one or the other, but I just don't see why they can't just hang out with me, right? So if my sister or my brother and we wanted to hang out with my best friend, we could all hang out together. I think it's kind of weird if all of a sudden my best friend is hanging out with my sister, that doesn't, when I'm not even part of it. So as far as versus your significant other, I think, yeah, if it's a trust, if we trust each other and it's a good solid relationship and they want to hang out, I think that makes sense. Maybe it's to surprise me with a gift. Maybe it's just so they can get to know each other, especially if the relationship turns out to be something more serious. So, but I think it's one in the same, in the sense that there still has to be some type of involving me in it, right? Because I'm kind of like the X factor. This is my best friend. This is my family member. This is my significant other. And this is me, So what do you think, Tanisha?
I definitely agree with both of you. I think that ideally anybody would want your significant other to get to know your family, especially if the relationship is serious and long-term. And, for me, like, best friend holds a really high title. When I call somebody my best friend, they are like my family. So they are like a sibling. So I would hope that they would have a good relationship with my family as well as my significant other as well. I definitely echo the fact that trust is a key factor in this, which is why I think it's so important to note that we can't just talk about any old friends here. We're talking about like a best friend dynamic, somebody that you would essentially trust with, your secrets, your life, all that good stuff. But that's me personally. I think that for me is extremely, like, it's one of my top 5 like most important factors in any relationship. Like, you have to get along with my family. or at least make an effort to have some type of relationship with my family, because they're such a big factor in my life. And the same goes for anybody that I consider a best friend.
So just so you know, like I did find something online called Quora.com, where it's just regular people posting questions. And one person posted, so I introduced my sister to my friend and we hung out together, but now they've been talking and planning to hang out without me. I told them each that I felt hurt and that it seems kind of shady. They didn't agree with me. And this person wrote, am I wrong? There were about like 10 different answers. And some people thought, no way, you know, you feel like you're being betrayed. And other people said, just accept it because relationships change. And as long as there's respect there. So it's definitely like a hot topic in the sense that it depends on people's perspective. But it's a tough one because they were all hanging out together and now all of a sudden the sister and the friend, they're hanging out. So I guess it does depend on whether it's a trusted best friend and it's like family. So what do you guys think about though, like being in a relationship? If you're in a relationship with someone and you guys have different friends that you hang out with, should you consider the other person's feeling when you have a different opinion about who their friends are? Maybe you don't like their friend, maybe you don't want to hang out with their friends. So, you know, is it, you know, Vanda, do you think it's fair to just consider each other's feelings about your opinion about who your friends are when you're in a relationship?
Absolutely. If I'm in a relationship with someone and they know I dislike somebody and they still hang out with them, I don't know, that's going to be a problem for me because I rarely dislike people as it is, but if I dislike you, there's like a strong reason why I don't like you. So if my significant other didn't take that into consideration, I would definitely have a problem with that. If, you know, it would go with, you know, basically anyone. If, you know, my sister knew I hated someone and, you know, she decided, oh, I'm going to be friends with that person anyway, it's definitely going to cause an issue. So I don't think it's, I mean, you can have a conversation with your significant other about it. And at the end of the day, I would think that I would respect my significant other and say, you know, I'm not going to be friends with this person, or at the very least not hang out with them constantly. Maybe have a conversation here and there on the phone with them if it's not someone they truly hate. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of a tough one for me. I don't know. What do you think, Nish?
I would say that I've dealt with both sides of the spectrum. I've dealt with like having controlling, possessive friends who like, you can't hang out with this person because like, you know, they don't like me or I don't like them, or we used to have problems in 1995. I think that it's worth noting that if we're discussing like you having input on the people that matter to you most on their lives, especially if you're close to them, like, you know, for example, you're my older sister. You have life experience, you have wisdom, you've experienced things in life that I haven't yet, or just experienced things differently. I regard your opinion highly. You know me, and I feel like you would have my best interest at heart. So in saying that, I would personally appreciate your perspective on if you think somebody is toxic or not a good friend in any capacity. I would expect that from you or from any of my siblings. who know me best. I would additionally, as long as it's coming from a healthy place, I would expect that from a significant other, a long-term significant other, a really important relationship or friendship. Like if somebody sees something that I'm not quite seeing, that's a detriment to me, I would respect their opinion. And I think in those dynamics, it should be vice versa. I think that if I see somebody being a snake in the grass to my best friend, I should be able to be like, hey, like, watch out for this person, or be cautious, or this person has done A, B, and C to you in my presence, and that's not the person that you should keep in your circle. I'm not, or at least I've tried not to be a possessive, controlling person when it comes to that. People are going to make their decisions. Everybody's grown and entitled to their own opinions on people. As far as somebody being friends with somebody I may not like, as long as I am not the subject and topic of conversation, you guys can do whatever you want. Just don't talk about me. But that's just me. Um, Eliana, what do you think?
Yeah, no, the two things. Number one, if it's a toxic relationship where you know that your significant other is being hurt, you know, or taken advantage of, I think you do have to consider that. If that, you know, if you tell somebody that, that other person really needs to consider what you're saying because you're in that relationship. But I think there's the what could happen is that sometimes you tell someone, hey, watch out for that person. I don't think they're good for you, or they're taking advantage of you. And that person then is torn because they still want to be friends with that person, with the other person. So then your friendship gets frayed. Now you're not friends, and they're off with the person who you thought wasn't that great. So it's tough. I think that if you're in a relationship, the two of you should both consider each other's opinions about what friends you have, because your relationship comes first. It's a more like intimate relationship. But somebody else might say, hey, we've been friends for years. I've just been dating, you know, I just started dating you. I'm not going to choose my friends over you. So I don't know what you think, Vanda, but
I mean, to say, I don't know. I agree with both of you. I think that, you know, you should definitely take feelings into consideration. You have to just be, you know, expectant of people just not accepting certain things. So on that note, I mean, I think we all have to be just, you have to be yourself, but at the same token, you do have to take into consideration people's feelings. So at the end of the day, you got to figure out how your relationship is.
So are you willing, so if you were to tell somebody how you feel about their friend, are you willing to lose that friendship because of it?
It's like you said, it depends. If I just started dating you and you don't like my friend, and you just met them, then no, I'm not going to lose my friend because I've known them longer and I barely know you. If I'm in a long relationship and I have this friend and all of a sudden you meet them and you say, well, like Tanisha said, I don't know, 2006, they did this, this, and this to me. I guess it would depend on what you did, how it transpired, whether we're going to have a conversation about whether we're still friends or not. So it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. What do you think, Nish?
Yeah, it definitely depends on the degree of the grievance. If it's, I mean, there are definitely things that are deal breakers. Like if it's like disloyalty, sabotage. I personally have encountered a lot of crazy things in friendships and relationships. And that being said, like relationships are just more intimate friendships, right? Your significant other should be your best friend as well as your significant other. But yeah, it definitely depends. If a friend hates this person because they wore the same outfit to the club, you guys are just gonna have to be mad at each other forever, and that's just gonna have to be that, because that's petty. Especially if I have like a different dynamic with this person, like you said, and Eliana said, if this is somebody that I have been friends with for years, is it really necessary for me to forego a really long-standing relationship over something petty? But as far as, yeah, I mean, as far as anything more severe than that, 1,000%. I think that loyalty comes few and far these days, and I think that not enough people are willing to advocate for each other in that way. And I think that the people that you trust the most and the people that you regard highly should be able to at least give their opinion without you getting upset, or without you being defensive, just because it's coming from a good place.
So guys, I just want to go back because part of the topic was something I experienced. So the key for me is, and I want to go back to that. So if there's loyalty and trust between you and that person, whether it be a sibling, whether it be a best friend, or whether it be a significant other, right? The two of you, or the people within that dynamic, should be able to talk, trust each other, have a conversation about how you're feeling without feelings being hurt, right? But what happens if that's why I like that particular question. And again, it's Quora.com, and anybody can just pull it up, and it has a whole bunch of questions and people just answer randomly. But what happens if you guys were all hanging out together, right? And whether it be a significant other, whether it be your sibling, or whether it be your best friend, and then all of a sudden, right, you find out that they've been talking to each other this whole time. You didn't even know about it. And next thing you know, you see pictures posted with them together because they were hanging out and they're planning on hanging out. And they didn't invite you. You didn't know if those pictures ever, you didn't know the pictures existed until you saw it on social media. So do you confront these people, right? What do you do with that? Do you just say, okay, this is my sister, I totally trust her, everything's okay? Do you say, well, this is my best friend, she's not going to share any personal business behind my back? Or do you say, this is my significant other, we totally trust each other, don't even know why they're hanging out with each other, but hey, maybe they click and I wasn't invited and it should be okay? So tell me, somebody.
I'll say that in regards to that person hanging out with my best friend, I have personally experienced that. My siblings know one of my long-standing best friends. She's been in my life since the 5th grade. Literally was like my upstairs neighbor. And I've moved around a lot in life for work. So, she's still local. So, there have been a few occasions where my sisters have run into her, or my sisters have invited her to things. I don't see there's anything wrong with that. If anything, she's like a little sister too, because she's been around for so long. I know that in that type of dynamic and relationship, that's not concerning to me. I mean, I might be a little salty, like if they went to a restaurant they all knew I wanted to try and they didn't go, like they didn't go with me, or they didn't see if I was available to go. I would feel some type of way. I would definitely feel like the odd man out, but not to the point of like I'm beefing with my sister or I'm beefing with my best friend. Bring me a to-go plate. Don't ever do it again. And we can move on. But as far as my significant other, as much as I want them to have a good relationship with my family or with my best friend, I mean, I think it depends. If you guys are going out for coffee, lunch,
Yeah.
maybe like a team building exercise to get to know each other, sure. For it to be like this habitual thing where I'm constantly like the odd woman out, not being involved in any plans, like you guys are spending more time together than I'm spending with my best friend or my significant other. I don't know anybody who would be like, hello, like, personally, I think that anybody would feel like, I guess, like, left out. So especially like you said, when you are the core of that
That's right.
interaction, and you are
Yeah.
the main person who like put these people together, yeah, definitely it would have to be something that's addressed. I don't know that it would be an all out fight, or it would have to be like this big thing, but it would definitely be a discussion for sure.
What do you think, Vanda?
I I agree with Tanisha. If my sibling is hanging out with my best friend and they go out and they're, like she said, if they're at a dinner and they're having a good time or whatever, it's a birthday, I had to work, I don't know, whatever the case may be. I couldn't be there, but you guys decided to have plans anyway. I can overlook that. If it is a habitual thing, we're gonna have problems. I'm gonna call you out. It is what it is. If it's my significant other, we're definitely gonna have problems. I'm just gonna say it like it is. My significant other is not hanging out with my best friend, taking pictures every other day and doing stuff without me, or more so with them than me. I'm not okay with that. I'm not a jealous person, but at the end of the day, why? There's got to be something's going on there. I'm gonna call it like it is. If there isn't, my apologies, but you're still not doing that. It's just not. I don't know. It's not okay with me. If he's hanging out with my sisters, it's a different thing, and I'm okay with that. But I don't know. I can't say that I'll be okay with all that.
No, I agree with all of you. Like, one of the respondents said that from a third person point of view, it won't look that bad. But when it's happening to you, it's a lot harder to deal with, right? Because some of these people said they crossed the line, right? Some of these people said you feel like you've been taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Some people were a little bit more, like one person said it's all about karma, right? You don't want the same thing to happen to you, or you be in the same type of situation. So maybe you need to just accept it, let it go, find other friends. So it's,
I agree. I think we're all in I think we all live in a very like possessive society. So like that's how we look at things and people. I think that's why I think it's just so important to discuss the factor of trust, because that's a huge piece of it. I mean, I'm also biased because most of my best friends are dudes. So if my significant other was hanging out with other dudes, I wouldn't have a problem. I know that there have been issues where significant others are hanging out with the opposite sex and it causes a huge problem. So
Mhm.
I can't speak from that perspective because I've never had my boyfriend hang out with my girl best friend. So I'm sure that would be a different issue.
Yeah,
For
like what I was saying
Yes.
earlier is that from everything I know, as far as like social media or celebrities, and probably it happens in real life too, where all of a sudden your husband or your boyfriend, they're leaving you for your best friend, right? So I totally agree with Vanda said, I'm gonna confront you. And if it was a mistake or I misunderstood, okay, my apologies. But I'm
Yeah.
going to let you know that this is something that's uncomfortable for me. You know, like she said, she was like, it seemed kind of shady in this, you know, and the woman who wrote the question, she was like, I told him that it seemed kind of shady to me, right?
Yeah, because if nothing's going on and it's or whatever, then why didn't you just tell me in the first place, right? Why am I seeing these pictures randomly or whatever? Like if there's nothing, I'm gonna tell my boyfriend I'm going out with so and so, whatever, or my sisters would be a different story, but my significant other, yeah, no, no. But
Relatable.
yeah,
For sure. And to your point, Eliana, it's happened in definitely in reverse. Like girls leave their man for their man's best friend all the time. End up married,
Ooh.
running away, getting married, having several kids together. These are things that happen in society.
yeah.
I mean, and again, I think that it's all very interesting to explore because some people, vast majority of people be like, that's wrong, that's terrible, I would never speak to that person again, or that person, that relative who did that to me, or that friend who did that to me would never be in my life ever again. And then there are other people in life who are like, you don't own someone. You don't, if you're not married, if you guys don't have kids, like, who are you to deny that person? Who are you to deny that person a chance of meeting like the person for them just because you're possessive or because whatever? I don't know. I'm just saying.
It's definitely a loss, right? So from a psychological point of view, it's a loss because you had this relationship with someone, whether it be a sibling, a best friend, or a significant other. I think I'm putting them all together because in my opinion, they're all one and the same. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So there's a loss there because you're losing something that you had with someone because now somebody else comes in and is involved. I don't know. That's how I see it. That there's a loss. It doesn't mean it's a bad type of loss, right? I'm not saying it's a bad loss, but you are going to feel something because now the dynamic has changed. You have to now be okay with, hey, I'm not around as much, so my best friend hangs out with my sister all the time, right? Or hey, my best friend was going somewhere I couldn't go. They decided to get together and go, right? So
I would say that, it just depends on the person. It depends, on trust and all those things that we talked about. But at the end of the day, you just have to let your feelings be known. I think that's the most important thing.
Transparency. Yeah.
I would like to thank you guys for joining and for hearing us give our opinions. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time,
this is
our conversation.
Our conversations.
Bye.